I think a lot of conservative MPs got into the game because they thought it was a guaranteed win.
Yeah.
And so a bunch of people jumped into the race going, I got this. I'm going to be a politician.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
Well,
But
listen, so clearly our friend is not joining us today. That's supposed to join us. And we haven't talked about the election, TK. Like you mentioned it briefly, and then you went off onto some tirade about yourself. And
go
we
for
got to
it.
get back onto
Sorry.
that.
I'm sorry. I won't talk about myself again.
No, TK. It's okay. But there's an election that just happened. And you see, this is how we know it went in your favor and that you're really a liberal, TK, because you just fluffed it off like nothing really happened.
Well, like I'll tell you my opinion on it, and I didn't vote liberal, but I'd like to pretend I do just to upset people
Yeah.
because apparently everybody voted
Everybody,
liberal. So it's
everybody
like
and
it's not like
mother.
I'm too upset about it. But I just look at what I can do on my side of the street here, okay?
Yeah.
What
What's
is
on your
TK
side of the
able
street?
to
What can
do?
you do? What are you able to
Call
do?
my clients, make sure that I'm helping them sell their properties, achieve their goals, make sure that I'm, keeping up with my taxes and my family and going to the gym and staying healthy and waking up every day with like
Sounds
a,
very new age to me,
positive
TK.
attitude. You know what I
This
mean?
is
Like,
very new age
why am I going
stuff.
to start complaining about how the world is going to end because now our prime minister is, who he is? Like, I agree. I hope the results were going to be different, but they aren't. So I
They're
move on.
not.
I move on
So
quick.
did Carney have a better plan for the housing market than our friend Mr. Paulie Everett? Or like who had
It
the better
sounded like it's the same plan. It didn't feel like anything was
right?
really that great other than Polly Evers' willingness to have the uh like the 1031 exchange like in the States where you could reinvest the
Oh
money
yeah,
back
that
into
was a good idea.
assets instead of capital gains. That was a
That was
great
a
idea.
great idea.
Wow. That was a
Now
home run, but
instead,
apparently it wasn't. It was a
no,
bunt.
no, now
And they threw him out at
instead,
first.
yeah, and rather we have to pay taxes on our equity in our houses, right? Like we have to pay some kind of capital gains on the equity sitting in our
That's what people are
houses now.
saying that he's going to introduce because that's
Right.
what the Liberal government was having discussions with the group who is an advocate of that in the past. I mean, we'll see. I mean, that's a bold statement to say that it's going to come through. That would be a big obstacle when you're considering who the voting populace is. But we'll see.
The voting populace is obviously mentally challenged at best.
Well,
Should most of them, okay, this is why I had the best idea. And I don't know if I
this is
said it
what
here.
democracy is all about. Everyone
Okay.
says democracy is the way to go. Great, great, great. Okay,
I
well,
don't know.
like then don't complain afterwards. That's the whole point.
You shouldn't be able to vote until you're 18 and you shouldn't be allowed to vote after you're 65. Okay. It's enough. After you're 65, it's like let the next group take control,
You
right?
don't have any say. You're
You
gonna
know,
die soon. You don't need to
yeah,
like vote on anything.
I'm telling you.
We'll take care of you. Don't
I
worry.
saw this show once and I
Oh
forget
my
what it
God.
was, or maybe it was a movie, but I
Yeah.
remember it
Please don't
so
cut that into
vividly.
a short,
No,
Aiden. Please don't.
please don't. Let's make sure you do. I remember watching this show or movie where once the elders got to a certain age, and I forget what it was probably like, 60 or let's say 62. Not too old, but like definitely like past prime.
Yeah.
And what they made them do, it was a whole ceremony, and the whole village would like circle around, and it was a whole thing. And they'd go up on top of this mountain, and like they went to like an edge on a cliff. And then the old people, once they hit the certain age, they jumped off,
Mm.
and that was it. And that's how they dealt with the population. That it was That's how they made sure that the older people didn't fuck around with the
Maybe it's like a
politics.
hyperbole or something. You know what I mean? Like this is just like,
Thought it was a
you
good
know,
idea.
yeah. No, we should protect our
Yeah.
old people and that they should have, the most rights because they're the ones who've paid for all the way, for them to get there. I mean, CPP is funded, which is good. I just heard that the other day, so that I shouldn't
Yeah,
have
we
to
have
worry
enough
about
for
that.
that.
But
Yeah.
old age
Print some money for that.
security, that's probably something that's not going to be around for very much longer.
Well, I'm sure it
But
covers all the bills. I'm sure it's like you're living like a king on that stuff, right?
yeah,
You're
no,
like sitting there
you're
in your
you're
old
you're eating craft dinner, growing your own
recliner.
vegetables.
Yeah,
Yeah,
in your Sealy
with
Easy
chickens, and
Boy.
the chickens are in your living room. So I mean, listen,
Are they
voting
live
is it's
chickens?
either a democracy or it's not a democracy. I mean, Not a popular opinion, but obviously for me, um, yeah, I think that we've got, too many elections, too many politicians, too many choices, too many like when you look at Pierre Poilievre's riding,
Yeah.
how
Too many choices. That's what I was just thinking.
what kind of game was that?
Oh no, that there's nothing going on there at all. What are you
Right?
talking
There
about?
was only four options on my card. How
I
come
had
there's
three.
70 on his?
I had three. I didn't even read two of them. I just went
Yeah.
right for the blue guy.
Okay.
And
It's in black and white, but I understand what you meant by that.
well, yeah, the conservative guy who,
Hmm.
okay, listen, I did my part, TK.
You
My
did
guy
great.
won in his riding. Okay. My four votes
Mostly because of your
probably,
household.
right? We
Yeah.
swung the thing. I
Yeah.
did my part. The rest of you fuckers all ended up with liberal MPs
Yeah.
all across the nation.
Here's my take on it. Okay.
What? Yeah, tell me.
And I'm gonna be truthful here. Like this is like, I think a lot of conservative MPs got into the game because they thought it was a guaranteed win.
Yeah.
And so a bunch of people jumped into the race going, I got this. I'm going to be a politician.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing. They didn't
No.
knock on doors. They didn't work. Existing MP who had already been elected the last election, they already had the community. They already knew the people. They already were sending out their flyers. They had their little home base set up in some plaza that no one else wants to run a business in. They already had all those things done.
Yeah.
Where the new conservative MP thought, "Oh, this is going to be a walk in the park," and I don't
Yeah.
think they tried very hard. They
No.
didn't knock on my door. I remember people knocking on my door when especially when the provincial election happened and Dougie was taking over. They were knocking on my door having conversations with me. They didn't even knock on my door.
Well, I
So
told
how
you
bad
about
did they
my
really
guy.
want it? I know it was a
Sure.
short window to do the election, but get out there and work, guys. Come on, that's why you lost. Don't blame anybody but yourself. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. There's all kinds of things. I don't think this election is unique in the fact that, listen, there's so much at stake here. Okay. People don't
Hmm.
play fair when there's nothing at stake. Okay. When there's running the country that has one of the biggest natural resource reserves on the planet, people are willing to do some stuff that, maybe is necessary, maybe isn't, but seems to be the way things are. And so all of a sudden, I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but I don't remember advanced voting ever. Maybe there was, maybe there wasn't. I don't remember it. I don't remember it. I don't remember ever hearing stories about people taking boxes of voting cards home or whatever votes home and then bringing them back on Monday morning. I never heard that kind of shit before. I I, I feel like even though Pierre lost his way a little bit and kind of like lost his charisma as things went on, like the lead that he had, people just don't know all of the stuff that happens in the background. And it's a shame because the
Hmm.
people that kind of hear the stuff and believe it, like me, us naive, crazy conspiracy theorists,
Hmm.
the world is ruined now, right? But it's the people that have the blinders on that don't know any of this stuff, right? Like you, it's like, yeah, what do I focus on? Oh, just the stuff I can control, blah blah blah. But meanwhile, we're
Yeah.
living in a goddamn Congo. God damn it, we're being bled to death. TK, we don't even
Tubes
know it.
coming out of our every hole, every orifice of our body.
We don't even realize how fucking slaved up we are
Well,
here,
let's
right?
talk about his book a little bit, like about how, his idea of like the future, like shouldn't have that have been like taken into consideration?
Well, I
Like
think some of us took it into consideration, but then like
it's
people don't want to
insanity.
read. Yeah,
Yeah, like the
people
net
don't want to
zero
read.
like that's failed, right? That hasn't worked. Nobody's into it. None of the big corporations are into it. Europe, it's failed. Everybody's just like, okay, why were we even bothering? Like, what a waste of time that is.
It's all
Um,
Crazyville.
the fact that he's, levered up with all the big boys across the world and all of their, side missions on how they're going to take over countries and stuff like that. Like that should be a little bit concerning,
You'd
you know?
think a little concerning, right?
Yeah.
Just a little bit. I mean, any politician that whips up in a Rolls Royce should be, maybe not. As I say this, I would always think previously, like we need a good entrepreneur to run these countries. You know what I mean? It was like these politicians don't know what the
Drama
fuck they're
teachers
doing,
aren't
right?
cutting it.
They're
Yeah.
not cutting it. And then so we get Trump, who, I mean, I don't know what the hell's got into that guy. I used to be a Trump supporter, and now I'm like, this is just crazyville. But well, I don't even know what the hell I was talking about. I'm
Running a
so
business. So you thought an
right.
entrepreneurial.
You'd think this guy could like run the world, run the country better, and it
Yeah.
seemed like he was gonna, and then he went kind of mental. We'll see how that works out. But then here you get Carney, who's like running Brookfield and like running the government in the background and like, whatever else he's doing, and
Yeah.
running banks of countries, right? Like the Bank of England and the Bank of Canada. And I mean, even I was sitting there going, man, they're making this guy look pretty good, right?
Hmm.
And if you didn't know about all that stuff, like reading his book, let's say, right?
Sure.
Or any, or like the Epstein Island stuff, or like if
Yeah.
you didn't
No
know
one
any of
really
this
talked
stuff,
about Epstein either.
yeah,
That
but
was just
if,
like thrown at him at a few rallies and like
right?
they did some clips and stuff like that. But like mainstream media is just like not willing to discuss anything against him whatsoever.
No, because
Like there
people
was
want to
never
hate Trump so
any,
much,
there was
right?
no bad press whatsoever,
They
you
want to
know?
hate Trump so much, like that they
Yeah.
just leaned into that. And everybody was like, yeah, all these older people, like my parents, they hate Trump. They don't even know why, right? They just
Yeah.
like grew up with the media saying Trump is a piece of shit or Trump is this, Trump is that. And then
Yeah.
over time, they believed it. They were part of that machine. They believed everything, whether right or wrong. I don't even know anymore. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know if the picture of him with Epstein, for God's sakes, could be AI. I mean, I can make it right now, right?
Yeah.
The stuff I'm making with ChatGPT now, these pictures are next level crazy. It's
I
so
think he would have
insane.
came out and said something. Instead, he just like dodged the topic. Like people would bring it
Right.
up and he would just be like, next.
No.
Otherwise, he would have been like, those are fake photos. Like nobody has a real photo of me on the island with my finger up the. Never mind.
Whoa.
So
No, but seriously, it's like, no, don't say anything about anything, is I think the instructions. Like, no matter what comes out, just don't say anything about it.
yeah,
And
yeah.
like, talk in some weird language after, and then people will be distracted by that.
Are you looking for the best merch store on the planet? Well, we got the shit for you. Coming in at low prices where we barely make any money off of whatsoever, you can get the greatest real estate merchandise on this platform. Just look at this very flamboyant man putting on this great stuff. He looks great, he's dancing great, and boy does he look sexy in that merchandise. I tell you, buy this for anybody, you buy this for yourself. You will be not only repping the greatest Canadian real estate podcast in this world, but you will also be looking hella good doing it.